Dr. William L. Johnson III once more for our morning meditation. Thank you so much for your faithfulness and your support and your words of encouragement as we have shared these messages of inspiration and encouragement, or tried to, over time, and that we hope that they will impact your life and your living and your family and everything that you do in a way that's positive and enriching. Now to our morning meditation. Today's morning meditation has been one of a series that we began several weeks ago as we've shared these messages with you. We hoped that you might be able to find in our recording that as they come out each week, that they are encouraging and building towards some ultimate goal. Today's message is inclusive of all the other messages, getting on with living our lives. In our first part of this message, we offered these words. Getting on with our lives is important for us to get up off of the floor after life has knocked us down. In the second message, we discovered that getting on with our lives, or getting on with living our lives, is important not only to get up off of the floor, but to get out of our own way so that we will not sabotage the growth and all the things we value and hope for and dream for while we are caught up in our own world of anger, frustration, difficulty that we have created or those around us have created because we've allowed it. The third installment of getting on with our own lives is the one that we shared in reminder to us to not just sit in the middle of what we're dealing with, but sometimes we have to get on the balcony, get on a place where we can reflect and meditate on what it is that we are here for and how we operate with others in the world. And sometimes you can't do that when you are in the push and pull of life, that sometimes you have to withdraw yourself a little bit, take some moments to reflect on what your purpose is, what's really going on here, and then you can engage with purpose and intention and to be in a place where whatever you do is gratifying and rewarding. So that brings us to today's message. Today's message is entitled Getting On with Our Lives Without Pause. Getting on with our lives without pause. I'm amazed at what practice can do. Practice allows us to be able to get in a rhythm of being able to see various and different scenarios and trying to figure out how to become comfortable in those moments. What I've discovered, because I was a former athlete, I say former athlete, I do some athletic things now, but a former athlete, we worked hard every day at practice. Practice was designed to help us to get in a rhythm of life so that by the time we got to the place where the real deal was happening, we would not have to think about it, but it would become second nature. When I played basketball, what we discovered is that there was a thing called muscle memory. And so that I would shoot so many shots so that I would not have to think about the shot anymore. But what would happen is that my muscles would automatically react because I had practiced them, trained them so often that they knew what to do, when, where, and how, so that I didn't have to think about it, but I would do it without pause. Sometimes life comes at us and we are trying to live our own lives. And what's interesting about living our own lives is that we have not practiced what it means to be ourselves. We've learned how to be other people, or what other people think we ought to be, or how they had values for us or goals for us. And we really tried to shape ourselves, move ourselves, live our lives in a way that would be pleasing to others up to the standard that they set. However, I've discovered that people often have not practiced and lived in their own lives, walked in their own shoes, been comfortable in their own skin. They've done what others thought, what mom and dad, brothers or sisters, aunts and uncles, even their sons and daughters or their spouse or mate wanted them to do, and often never really found comfort in being themselves. And you know what's so horrible about that is that when it all boils down, people will come back to you and ask you what you think and why you didn't live your life the way you were called to live it. Well, and how you were made to live it. For me, I am destined to try to live the life that the one who created me called me to live it. And that is when I find myself most at home. Practice leads me to live a life without pause. So I don't have to get ready to live my life. I'm living it. And I'm living it, practicing it, so that when things are really under the microscope, and when the fire is hot, and when life is difficult and the challenges come, I know that I'm living the life that I've been called to live. I don't know if Frank Sinatra was right or wrong when he says, I did it my way, but I think the sentiment is this, that whatever it is that you are called to be in this world, no one else can be you. There's only one you. There's no axiom quite like you. There's no substitute for you. You have come into this world for purpose and for intention. And because you are here each day, if you live it as if it's your only opportunity to be you in this world, you can do it without pause. I don't mean rushing in and doing stuff without thinking about it or going through a process that's reckless or thoughtless or careless. But what I do mean is that you ought to be you without questioning you. In other words, you ought to be able to live as your Creator had designed you to live and do what you are called to do because you're able to live your life with the greatest of ease because it's you. There's a writer who wrote about a great baseball player, Ted Williams. They said Ted practiced so much that he could see the seams of the ball before it left the pitcher's hand and could tell you what kind of pitch it was, whether it was a fastball, a curveball, a slider, or whatever it is, a changeup, because he could tell because he practiced it. And because he could do so, he could jump up and swing the bat and hit the ball without fail, or at least to be on top of it or close, because he didn't try to guess at the last minute. He knew who he was. He knew what strengths he had. He knew what abilities he had, and he could live his life without pause. That's what I want to share with you. You ought to know yourself so well, live your life so well, be mindful in your life. They say practice mindfulness, meditate, get on the balcony, get on and moving around. Don't get in your way, and get on your feet for your life so that you can do it without pause. Because one day we know none of us will live forever. And so you might as well start living right now for the life that you've been given. It's the one life you've been given. You should do it with all you have in you. And I am encouraging you to get on with living your life right now, without pause, on the balcony from time to time, getting out of your own way and on your own feet. I want you to be encouraged because we are aware that as we do so, we share these messages. We want you to know that you are loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. And because of that, you have value in the world, you have value in our lives, you have value in the lives of those around you. Embrace that. Don't shun it off just because others don't acknowledge it. That doesn't mean just because they don't acknowledge it or they don't appreciate the gift that is in their midst, that you're not a gift. You are certainly a gift, and you bless the world. So have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great life, because it's the one life you're given. Live it without question and without pause. Get on with living it. It's time. Have a great time. This week, this month, this year, this life. Take care.